not be any hindrance in the execution of this duty of writing the nectar of devotion, impelled by His Divine Grace, Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is also covering his Mangalacharan. Originally, who is writing? Rupa Goswami is writing. So Prabhupada is also writing summary study, so he also has the right to seek the blessings of his spiritual master Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Let it be pleasing to him. So Vastu Nirdesh is to Krishna. He is offering obeisances to him, and let his grace be upon us, and Ashirvad also. If you don't understand something, you may ask me also. Some parts may be technical, there is not that much, but if you feel some explanation required, you may ask. Or at the you write down little bit, question type, and at the end you could ask. Then next he is saying, Rudhiyasya preranaya pravartito aham vara rupo api tasya hare padakamalam vande chaitanya devasya. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada and of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, by whose inspiration I have been engaged in the matter of compiling this summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is the sublime science of devotional service as propounded by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago in West Bengal, India, to propagate the movement of Krishna consciousness. Then third, Srila Rupa Goswami begins his great work by offering his respectful obeisances unto Sri Sanatana Goswami, who is his elder brother and spiritual master, and he prays that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu may be very pleasing to him. He further prays that by residing in that ocean of nectar, Sri Sanatana Goswami may always feel transcendental pleasure in the service of Radha and Krishna. So Sanatana Goswami, so Sanatana word is for Krishna also, and it is for Sanatana Goswami also. It refers to both. Then fourth, let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the great devotees and acharyas, holy teachers, who are compared to sharks in the great ocean of nectar and who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. Impersonalists are very fond of merging into the supreme, like rivers that come down and merge into the ocean. The ocean can be compared to liberation and the rivers to all the different paths of liberation. So impersonalists want to merge. So they are compared to rivers, they merge in the ocean. Whereas acharyas or pure devotees are compared to sharks. So sharks don't merge in the ocean. They swim in the ocean. So about sharks, one devotee was telling that they live only in the ocean. They don't live in the rivers. So similarly, devotees, they live only in Bhakti Ras and nothing else. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in that only the sharks of pure devotees, they swim. They don't get into these rivers of liberation. And the sharks reject the rivers. Rivers merge, not the fish. And then he says, sharks are never caught by fishermen's net because they swim very deep in the ocean. So there the net of the fisherman does not reach. So that net is compared to the snares of birth and death. Not snares, sources, I think, sources of birth and death. So others are caught in that, Gyanis, Yogis, etc. But not the pure devotees. Then in the next paragraph, he says, Srila Rupa Goswami prays to his spiritual master Srila Sanatana Goswami for the protection of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of the pure nectar of devotional service, from the argumentative logicians who unnecessarily meddle in the science of service to the Lord. He compares their arguments and logic to volcanic eruptions in the midst of the ocean. So in the midst of the ocean, when volcanic eruptions take place, there is no harm. That is not even visible. So let these argumentative argumentative people, Gyanis, Yogis, etc., or logical people, let them not harm this uh, ocean of pure nectar of devotional service. That is Rupa Goswami's prayer at the lotus feet of Sanatana Goswami. Then in the next one, the author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, very humbly submits that he is just trying to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Although he humbly thinks himself unfit for this work, that should be the attitude of all preachers of the Krishna consciousness movement following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. Next line, if you want, you can underline. We should never think of ourselves as great preachers, but should always consider that we are simply instrumental to the previous acharyas. And simply by following in their footsteps, we may be able to do something for the benefit of suffering humanity. Just like now in this lecture, it appears like I am the one who is giving class. But if you see in one sense, this mic is quite instrumental. And now this mic doesn't say, hey, come on, I am giving class. Everybody hears me. So mic is instrumental. The person in front of the mic is the one who is speaking. So similarly, we should think, I am instrumental in the hands of Hari Guru Vaishnavas. So that is the attitude of all preachers. Never think that we are great preachers, but we are instrumental. And I am happy to be instrument. Though I am not qualified, I am not a good instrument, but devotees are so compassionate, so considerate, loving, that they accept. So then now, these are all verses of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu which Prabhupada has given in introduction. One paragraph is one verse. First paragraph is first verse, second verse, third verse, fourth verse, fifth verse, sixth verse are over in sixth paragraph. Now 7 to 10 verses are covered in next one paragraph of this. 7, 8, 9, 10, all are there. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that means the contents of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, whole book contents are given in this 7 to 10 verses which Prabhupada has given in one paragraph, because this is summary study. As I said, this is not a commentary, so that's a condensed. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is divided into 4 parts, just as the ocean is sometimes divided into 4 parts, and there are different sections within each of these 4 divisions. Originally in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean is divided like the water ocean into east, south, west and north. Like if you see the ocean, in map at least if you say, now we cannot see ocean from top. Maybe if we are in plain, that is one thing. But then also we may not understand so well. As much as in the map. In the map we see, we can see that east part of that, whichever the ocean, let's say Indian Ocean. So east part, north part, south part, west part. So each ocean is divided into 4 parts. As in the ocean, there are always different waves, either on the eastern side, the southern side, the western side, or the northern side. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu similarly has different waves. In the first part, there are 4 waves. The first being a general description of devotional service. So this is called as Samanya Bhakti. Now you consider ocean. Any ocean is like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, whole ocean. So of that, he's talking about which part? First part is eastern. Eastern direction of that ocean. So each side, each direction will have waves, yes or no? Whole ocean has waves. So every side, whichever direction you take, will have waves. So now here are the waves. And eastern side has the waves of Samanya Bhakti, that is called as in general Bhakti. Just like people in general also have Bhakti, like that. That is not Sadhan Bhakti, because they don't do it in regulated fashion under the direction of the Guru. So Vaidhi is not there, Raganuga, both are not there, because they are not following any Guru. But in general you will find some Bhakti being done by them, small scale. So that is a Samanya Bhakti. The first being a general description of devotional service. The second concerns the regulative principles for executing devotional service. Which Bhakti? Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. Correct. And the third wave, devotional, this is not Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, this is Sadhan Bhakti, sorry. Yeah? This is Sadhan Bhakti. The 2 categories, 2 parts are not described. Both combined is sadhan bhakti. So first is samanya bhakti, second is sadhan bhakti, and the third wave, devotional service in ecstasy. Which one? Bhava bhakti, not raganuga bhakti, because I already said Vaidhi sadhan bhakti and raganuga sadhan bhakti both are combined together is sadhan bhakti. So that is second wave of this eastern side. First wave is samanya bhakti, second is sadhan bhakti, third is bhava bhakti. In the fourth is the ultimate goal, love of Godhead, which is that prema bhakti. Clear? Samanya bhakti, sadhan bhakti, bhava bhakti, prem bhakti. These are the four waves of this ocean of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. On which direction? Eastern direction. Yes, like that all other three are also there, but we will not get into that, and that is on very high level. Okay, then next he talks 11th verse in the next paragraph. The authorized descriptions of bhakti or devotional service following in the footsteps of previous acharyas can be summarized in the following statement by Srila Rupa Goswami. So here he is giving the definition. You all have heard. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukullena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. So the definition in short is giving. First class devotional service is known by one's tendency to be fully engaged in devotion in Krishna consciousness, serving the Lord favorably. Anukul. Very short way of given. The purport is that one may also be in Krishna consciousness unfavorably, but that cannot be counted as pure devotional service. Who are the examples of unfavorable devotional service? Kamsa. He was very fearful of Krishna. So much that his two wives came, Prapti and Siddhi or something like that. So when they came, immediately Kamsa said, Krishna Balaram have come. Some Grahastha Prabhu is there, he has two sons. Sons, both are sons only. So will he say, oh Krishna Balaram have come? He is not so Krishna conscious. And here Matajis are there, wives are there. Gender is different only. If you would have said something else, some Radharani and Chandravali came, that is something. They are females, his wives, whom he has interacted so much. And then he is saying, Krishna Balaram came. And all soldiers and others are saying, Maharaj, Krishna Balaram nahi, aapki patni aayi hai. वो सोच रहे कि पत्नी ये गलत है कि मैं गलत हूँ, कौन गलत है दोनों में से? इतना कृष्ण कॉन्शियस है वो, बोल ही नहीं पा रहे कृष्ण. He takes water of a glass of water for drinking, and he sees Krishna there. For us, what is told? Krishna is the test of water. Rasoham apsu kaunti. That means you drink water only, and you feel satisfaction, quenching of your thirst. And then you understand why my thirst got quenched, because Krishna is the test in this water. That means I drink the energy, and energetic is Krishna. What you call? You have to intuitively think of him. But for him, he is not thinking Krishna is the test of water. Krishna is only in the water for him. He is beyond even what Krishna is guiding in Bhagavad Gita. He has gone ahead of that. He is not drinking water. This water is tasty because Krishna is the test. He is seeing Krishna there in that water only. Not even his reflection. How Krishna conscious is. But problem is unfavorably Krishna. He is not anukullena. He wants to kill Krishna. There lies the problem. Pure devotional service should be free from the desire for any material benefit or for sense gratification. Anyabhilashita shunyam. As these desires are cultivated through fruitive activities and philosophical speculation. That means Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma adi anavratam. So fruitive action should not be performed with some mundane fruit in mind, mundane gain in mind. One does activities, then it is called as fruitive work or karma. And gyan means mental speculation. All types of mental speculations ultimately culminate in merging in Brahman. That is their desire. So pure devotional service devotee doesn't want to merge in Brahma Jyoti. Generally, people are engaged in different activities to get some material profit, while most philosophers are engaged in proposing transcendental relation through volumes of word jugglery and speculation. Pure devotional service must always be free from such fruitive activities and philosophical speculations. One has to learn Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service from the authorities by spontaneous loving service. So then he talks about Anushilanam in next paragraph. And how many of you know this sloka by heart? Anya Abhilasha Doshana. Raise your hand. Many know. So you know the components of that verse. Anya Abhilashita Shunya. Prabhupada said no material motivation. No material desire. Jnana Karma Adi Anarabham. Just now he explained. Now next is Anukulyena also he explained. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So now he's focusing on that part. Anushilanam. This devotional service is a sort of cultivation. Anushilanam means cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. So we are very active. We can see devotees are so active. So many activities in ISKCON. My God. And every devotee, whatever he is inspired by, is all enthusiastic. That is Anushilanam, cultivation. It is not stagnant. The particular word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is Anushilanam, or cultivation by following the predecessor teachers, acharyas. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Now, because of activity, now he is getting into next concept that is going to explain now. All activities may be divided into two classes. Anybody knows the words? Pravrutti and Nivrutti. One class may be for achieving a certain goal, that is called as Pravrutti, and the other may be for avoiding some unfavorable circumstances, that is Nivrutti. In Sanskrit, these activities are called Pravrutti and Nivrutti, positive and negative action. There are many examples of negative action. For instance, a diseased person has to be cautious and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness. So then within each of these, there are three types. What are they? Mental, vocal and physical. So let's say the example of mental pravrutti. I should think of Krishna. Pravrutti, something to be done. And what should I do? Think of Krishna. Thinking is done with mind. So this is mental pravrutti. I should not speak nonsense. Now you have to tell. Vocal nivrutti. Correct. So you understood, no? Like that. I should take Krishna Prasad only. Vocal. Physical. Prasad, na? Prasad we take what? Who takes prasad? Who said that? Has he not taken prasadam in voice for last 1 month? He vocally took it or what? Physically take it, na? I must take Krishna Prasad only. What is it? Physical pravrutti. And then I should not go to bars, pubs. Physical nivrutti. Understand? Got it, na? Pravrutti, nivrutti. To be done, to be avoided. Pravrutti to be done, nivrutti to be avoided. And then each one has three. Mental, vocal and physical. So then next. Those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling and willing are all activities of the mind. And when we do something, the activity comes to be manifest by the gross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please Him, following in the footsteps of the great acharyas and a personal spiritual master. There are activities of the body, activities of the mind, and activities of speech. A Krishna conscious person engages his words in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called kirtan. And towards the end, one can always think of the activities and pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness. That we already did the exercise. That is a little bit explained over there. So this paragraph is focusing on pure devotional service is an active engagement. Anushilanam. It's a cultivation, engagement. So Shilanam means activities. So activities cannot connect to Krishna without Anu, without disciplic succession. So that's why the word Anu has come. I hope you are understanding. thing, every word and thing are being explained. So Anushilana means cultivation and also activities. But activities cannot be connecting to Krishna without disciplic succession, isn't it? Like so many people are doing outside so many devotional activities, but they don't do in devotion in disciplic succession, so they don't get connected to Krishna well. So that's why that word Anu has come. Anu means in disciplic succession. Following. Then next paragraph, he says the execution of Krishna conscious activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith. So spiritual master will guide and just that's the end of the whole thing. No. Then we follow. He says chant like this. Don't chant with absent-minded nature, something like that. So then we practice. Oh, yesterday Guru Maharaj said I should not chant absent-minded. So let me be fully present. Bring my mind there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Still my mind may wander. Again I remember, no, Guru Maharaj said I should not chant absent-minded. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. So Anu, following the instruction of my spiritual master coming in disciplic succession, I have to practice, cultivate that ability to be able to chant not absent-mindedly, but with full concentration. You understand? It's a cultivation. Not that I heard from Guru, done. No, not done. I have to practice what Guru has said. Perfection will not be reached so immediately. So that's what is Anushilanam. You are getting? How many of you got it? Raise your hand. Good. Everybody got it. And this is somewhat little difficult, I believe, more than NOI, isn't it? That's why I'm asking, are you understanding? NOI was, I think, simpler, not very technical. In this little, because some words are being explained, Anu, Shilanam, all that. So that was quite easy, no? That's like practical life, don't eat too much. All that. Here it is, that's why I'm going a little slowly, because all should understand also. So if you see last line in that paragraph, he says, without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. So we must get initiated by bona fide spiritual master. So that initiation will lead to two things. One is purity. Initiation will lead to purity. Purity in our service. Because why? Like chanting first of all. Why I chant? Because I have vowed in front of my spiritual master. Like I got initiated in 98, Narasimha Chaturdashi. And then we got second initiated also. So we recommit our vows. So on that day, I went in front of my spiritual master, paid my obeisances, and chanted his Pranati Mantra, the Prabhupada Pranati Mantra. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Then I got up and with folded palms, and suddenly the mic was there. ISKCON means organization. So it's a bold declaration to the whole world. We just don't speak between you and Guru. The whole world has to hear. So mic is also given to ISKCON devotees who are taking initiation. So Maharaj, on this auspicious day of ISKCON's incorporation, second initiation, I confirm my vow, not confirm, I commit myself, I don't remember clearly, but I reconfirm my vows that I will daily chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on my pills. I follow 4 regulative principles of no meditating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. In the mission of Srila Prabhupada, I want to be servant of, I want to serve as in the mood of servant of the servant of the servant of yourself, and I will follow the strict standards of Brahminical principles, that is Brahman Diksha. So what are the strict standards? I will follow them. So now what happens, every morning when I chant, before that I pray to my spiritual master. I remember my vows, what all I took vow. Though it was in 2001, Brahman Diksha, now 22 years are over. But I remember, and oh Guru Maharaj, I have vowed that I will chant as attentively as possible for your pleasure. So I will now do. So now what happens, it leads to purity. The contaminated senses are not going to chant. Because my upadhis, I am servant of my guru. I have taken vow. For his pleasure, I am going to chant, not for my pleasure. So now, that's why initiation leads to purity in our service. And second is, it leads to selflessness. Because everything I do for my guru. So this is the beauty of initiation. Then next paragraph is Prabhupada quoting quoting means I am just summarizing audible. In short, I am telling because we cannot read the whole text. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita. Those who are great souls, they take shelter of internal potency of the Lord and bhajanti ananna manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. They worship the Lord, knowing Him to be ajam, unborn. And last line of that paragraph, any activities done in devotional service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna. Then next is talking about pure devotional service is for Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, Lord Chaitanya states that it is a fortunate person who comes in contact with the bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna, which was Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Ajiv Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Vish. So that Prabhupada has given. Then little ahead he says, Krishna is expanded by his plenary parts and parcels, his differentiated parts and parcels, and his different energies. Krishna, in other words, means everything and includes everything. So Krishna is sum total of everything. Then ahead he says all these expansions of the Lord Baldev, Sankarshan, Vasudeva, etc., as well as many other incarnations and innumerable Vishnu expansions. These are described in Srimad Bhagavatam to be as numerous as the uncountable waves. Avatarahi asankheya, unlimited incarnations. Sri Krishna includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. This also, if you see Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advait Gadadhar, Srivas, Panchatattva, but Srivas Adi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. In the sixth is also there. All the devotees of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Mainly Shada Goswami, but down the line all other acharyas also. So Krishna also includes not only incarnations, expansion, but also his devotees, pure devotees. So that's why we should not separate pure devotees from Krishna. In a sense, we should always know Sakshat Haritvena, Samasta Shastra is Haritva. Then next one he talks about, next paragraph. Great demons like Ravan, Kamsa and Hiranyakashipu were always thinking of Krishna, but they were thinking of him as their enemy. This sort of thinking cannot be accepted as bhakti or Krishna. So, unfavorably it should not be. Anukullena only. So, intention to please Krishna should be there and not incidentally. Intention should be there from in the bottom of the heart, the desire to please Krishna. Did Kamsa have that? Did Ravan have that? None of them. They were very Krishna conscious, but their intention was never to please Krishna. They wanted to please themselves, and Krishna was creating disturbance in their sense gratification, so they were very Krishna conscious. Just like sometimes in the material life also, enmity is there between two neighbors or something like that, two rich people. So they are very conscious of each other, but with enmity in their mind. The next paragraph, Prabhupada says, a devotee may be interested in the paraphernalia and locations such as battlefield of Kurukshetra, which are associated with Krishna, but he is not concerned with simply any battlefield. Like I think we have in this North India, Kurukshetra, near Kurukshetra, Panipat I think. There was some famous battle in Panipat in the history, isn't it? So, how many of you have gone to Panipat, that battlefield? Do you want to go sometime? Question. Who cares? Who cares? How many of you don't know where is Panipat? Yeah, many don't even know, and who cares? because I had gone to Kurukshetra and all. There only that side somewhere on the road when we are going in the vehicle, you will find the signboards Panipat. Like that. Then I remember, oh, Panipat is this side, North India, like that. So we are not concerned about that battlefield. But Kurukshetra, how many of you would like to go to Kurukshetra? Yeah. How many of you had been already? Achha, only 3 of us. Yeah, I had been twice to Kurukshetra in 1997 and recently 4 or 5 years back. So there are so many places, where Bhishma left his body. That place is there. Gita Sar is there, where Lord Krishna spoke Gita. That tree is there below that, and so many other places. There are some other places also related to Parshuram. That what is the Sarovar? Brahma Sarovar or something like that. So many holy places are there. So we wish to go there because Krishna has performed pastime. And other battlefields, who cares? He is concerned with Krishna, his speech, that means Krishna's speech, Krishna's instructions, etc. It is because Krishna is there that battlefield is so important. So that Anna Abhilasha Shunyam, one devotee was telling, I think he was giving Hindi class, I am reading that. अभिलाषा ही भक्ति का प्राण है. इच्छा होनी चाहिए, इंटेंशन ना, इच्छा. So अभिलाषा is the desire, spiritual desire, not material desire. अन्य अभिलाषिता शून्य. But in spiritual life we have desire. So अभिलाषा ही भक्ति का प्राण है. अन्य अभिलाषा की वृत्ति नहीं बननी चाहिए. Material desires की इच्छा नहीं होनी चाहिए, लेकिन spiritual desire होनी चाहिए कि मुझे भक्ति करना है. I want to chant attentively. I want to go with devotees. I want to take association of devotees. I want to serve devotees. So अभिलाषा ही भक्ति का प्राण है. तो कृष्णानुशीलनम वैष्णव. कभी आपात स्थिति में अन्य इच्छा करे तो समस्या नहीं. अभी this verse अन्य अभिलाषा शून्यम is okay. Anybody knows why itaha word has been added? अन्य अभिलाषिता शून्यम. You all know Hindi. Abhilasha is the word. So why is, so we can say anya abhilasha shunyam. Why is he saying anya abhilashita shunyam? Anybody knows? That itaha. No. Abhilasha.
Deep-rooted desire is being found, and not some temporary desire like protection.
Exactly. So we are coming to that point. He told me. Where did you hear that? Acharya wrote. Oh, very good. When he came here. Good. So that itaha means in dangerous situation. Like I am performing devotional service and I am for Krishna only working, but suddenly some danger, very like some kind of attack or something. Some people are coming with some weapon. Then and I am not able to escape, something like that. By my own endeavors I cannot. Then I will say, Krishna, oh Lord, please protect my body. It appears like mundane desire, material desire. But this is not what I have been always praying. Krishna, always protect my body. Make sure, oh Lord, I should not die now. I want to live for at least next 10,000 years. So we are not having such kind of desire. But now when we find sudden danger, the life may get lost, and then how will I perform devotional service, which is my desire? So when we pray like that, then it is not considered as material desire. Understand? Material desire, if it is there in your bhakti, it doesn't become pure devotional service. But at times, suddenly some danger like that, when you pray, oh Lord, please protect me. So then that does not make it, what you call, mixed devotional service or material devotional service. No, it is pure devotional service only. Just like Mother Draupadi. So she is not concerned about herself. But when she was being stripped naked, she called out, Hey Krishna, hey Govinda, hey Gopijana, oh Lord, please protect me. Protect me means I am getting stripped naked. Don't allow this to happen. So this is not obstruction to pure devotional service. So that's why the itaha word comes. कभी आपात स्थिति में अन्य इच्छा करे तो समस्या नहीं. Therefore इताहा, वो स्वभाव नहीं बनाना चाहिए. That is not what we keep praying like that. Like I remember when I was in Warangal Vice, I was the leader, project manager there as a brahmachari. So we had a brahmachari room. The brahmacharis would sleep and all. And the boys would sleep in different rooms of the youth center. So the devotee, I would bring some prasad etc. from Pune for what do you call that, facilitation in a sense, distributing to the boys and all. Sometimes in the voice also it would be made. But then where to keep it? If you keep it in the devotee's room, devotees only will to follow up of themselves. So then they would ask me, I would say keep it in the brahmachari room. Here it can keep it. So I am going to sleep that in that room. So all all that prasadam is there, follow prasadam is there like that. So it was there and there was no problem like that. But once it happened, I went to our professor's program and I became late. I came at 9:30 to voice. And then devotee said, bro, please take prasad. I said, no, it's very late, 9:30, too late. I will not take. So sometimes I would skip dinner. Youthful days, no problem. So then I went in the room and I slept. I mean, lied down. So sleep was not coming. So 9:30 I slept, 10 o'clock, 10:30. And then I found that there is some hunger in the stomach. And because of hunger, I am not able to sleep. So prasadam is there, if you fit, then we can sleep. Now I'm wondering, they said that khichdi is there, take it. So then I got up, I went in the kitchen. And everybody had slept, all the boys. I was the only one alone who was hungry and they were not able to sleep. So I went and gently, I was searching, where is that khichdi? They wanted to offer me at 9:30. Foolishly, I did not tell. Now where is it gone? And it was not there only in the kitchen. Then again I came back to the brahmachari room. I was wondering, Abhi, what to eat now? The whole wind up is done. Maybe they have watched what's also. And I cannot wake up other devotees कि मैं भूखा हूँ. बोलेंगे क्या प्रभु 9:30 को बोला था आपको. I mean, तभी खाते तो हमारा अभी. So I was feeling very guilty कि I did mistake. तभी करूँ क्या? तो मुझे समझा कि वो उधर follow का प्रसाद है in the room. So then I opened that lid and I took some. वो मैंने follow up किया अपना and I took that प्रसाद. पेट was थोड़ा भर गया. फिर मैं सो गया, आराम से सो गया. तो now this is not a problem. You understand? This happened only once in life. ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने लड़कों को बोला कि इधर ही रखो, फिर रोज रात को मैं छुप छुप के खाता हूँ. रोज रात को कभी नहीं खाया, एक ही बार ऐसा हुआ है. और वो भी थोड़ा गलती हो गई, मिसकैलकुलेशन इन लाइफ. प्रीचिंग में एक्सटेसी आ गया, लेट करते रहे, प्रचार करते रहे. 9:30 को वापस आए, और अभी लगा अभी इतना ही ब्रह्मचर्य में इतना लेट नहीं लेना चाहिए. 9:30 को नहीं लिया, 10:30 को लिया. So this is circumstantial, है ना. तो this is the one example. और मदर द्रौपदी's example is best. वो स्वभाव नहीं बनाना चाहिए. For example, सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, कष्ट मिटे तन का. ते है ना, that outside song. So they do only bhakti with this intention. सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, कष्ट मिटे तन का. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. That kind of bhakti we don't do, praying for some material desire. No, but suddenly some danger come, you can pray. You can pray means it will automatically come, because we are not yet pure devotees anyway. Okay, so where were we? So he is saying one more thing. अगर आपस्थिति में डेमिगॉड्स की पूजा करे तो वो व्यभिचारिणी भक्ति कहलाई जाएगी. व्यभिचारिणी भक्ति. तो गए आपद स्थिति में हम भगवान को प्रार्थना सकते कि मेरी रक्षा करो, शरीर की रक्षा करो, दैट इज ओके. बट डेमिगॉड्स को प्रार्थना नहीं करना चाहिए, भगवान को ही. अकामो सर्व कामो वा मोक्ष कामो उदारति तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुष प्रभु. सो फॉर इवन for outsiders, if they have material desire, they should come to Krishna only. For us as Krishna devotee, we don't ask for any material desire. But some emergency situation, we may pray for the protection of body or something like that. Or let's say wealth. Some of you may be gross and your wealth is somebody is trying to usurp it. By cheating you, he is trying to take some 10 lakhs rupees, 20 lakhs. And say, Krishna, please, let not this money be wasted. Means what? That money is for you. So when such suddenly somebody is trying to cheat in that big way, so you may pray, so that is not making it go away from pure devotional principle. So praying to demigods is against the principle of pure devotional service. Anukullena is visheshan, that means adjective. Without anushilan, it has no meaning. Okay, so then next paragraph, last means that 2-3 lines are only there. One who is interested in Krishna becomes interested in his different pastimes and activities. You are all there where I am reading? I am getting, no? We are covering paragraphs after paragraphs, not reading all the lines of the paragraph. Then next paragraph, which begins with the definition of a pure devotee as given by Rupa Goswami. So he says, any desire except for the service of the Lord is called material desire. And philosophical speculation, so-called philosophical speculation, refers to the sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at a conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. Then next paragraph, middle. If one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. So we all should not just follow empty rituals. We should know the heart also. They say also, ritual plus spirit plus ritual is spiritual. So sometimes we may be just doing rituals without knowing what is the spirit behind. Like I think I told last time that one man was about to start yajna. He had called his purohit, the Brahmin priest, and he said, so okay, now all that was paraphernalia, cleaning with achman, etc. Everything was done. Yajna kund is ready. So he said, we'll begin the yajna. The purohit priest asked the host, yajman. So he said, wait, just a minute. So then he went, he brought one cat near the sacrifice and he covered her with a basket. Then he came, did achman, and he said, okay, now we can begin. And the priest was wondering, what is this? Then he said, what is this? Why did you bring cat and all that? He said, I have seen in my childhood only, every time my father would do yajna, I have seen once I think, that when father was doing yajna, he had kept that cat covered with a basket. So it's a part of the yajna which was missing. So now it's complete, now we can begin. Then the priest became very angry. He said, you fool, that was my father who would do yajna for your father. So once it happened that when my father was conducting the yajna and pronouncing the mantra, this cat came from nowhere, and because of seeing so many men there and fire etc., it got bewildered and it started chanting, sighing, meow, 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 like, because not knowing what is happening here. So then that was disturbance. So my father told your father that do something about it, because yogic mantras are more important, not that meow meow, that is not part. So then your father was wondering what to do. If he touches the cat, it's a problem. He will become impure and all that. So then he brought a basket and kept the basket above the cat. Now cat is not able to see human beings and all that. So it is peacefully inside and the yajna continued. So that was circumstantial, and you are thinking that that is part of the yajna. That is your foolishness. So he chastised him very heavily. So we should not just follow rituals, we should know the spirit behind. Then it becomes spiritual. If one becomes attracted simply to ritualistic activities without understanding Krishna, his activities are unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. Then jnana karmadi anavritam, that is next paragraph. Karmadi, fruitive activities, consist of activities that are unable to help one attain to pure devotional service. Then next he is talking about sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvana nirmalam, something similar I think. So in the Narad Pancharatra it is said, one should be free from all material designation and by Krishna consciousness must be cleansed from all material contamination. He should be restored to his pure identity in which he engages his senses in the service of the proprietor of the senses. That is from Narad Pancharatra. Same, we discussed already, no? Rishikena Rishikesha Samana Bhakti. So when our senses are engaged for the actual proprietor of the senses, that is called devotional service. Rishikesh means what? Master of the senses. Rishik, Ish. Rishik means senses and Ish means master. Rishikena means by the senses. You know the, how many of you know little bit Sanskrit? Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, what is it called? Vibhakti, no? Yeah. So, like in English, when off, whatever. I don't know how to explain now. I will not get anyway in details. So, Tritiya is by the senses. What Tritiya only, na? Yeah, by the senses. So, last paragraph is saying, when one is fully aware that he does not belong to any family, society, or country, but is eternally related to Krishna, he then realizes that his energy should be employed not in the interests of so-called family, society, or country, but in the interests of Krishna. This is purity of purpose and a platform of pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Already 9, huh? But still, any question? Yes.
In the last paragraph, it is written that philosophical speculation refers to a sort of speculation which ultimately arrives at a conclusion of voidism or impersonalism. So I had two questions. First, like if one is reading Bhagavatam, and there also he has a speculative nature. He speculates a lot of things, but the end result is not either of these two. So can we say that that is not philosophical speculation? And
There are two types of speculations: mental speculation and philosophical speculation. Anybody knows the difference?
Mentally, like you are contemplating ideas, there is no reference to that. But philosophical contemplating just not the philosophical scriptures.
In the philosophical speculation, one accepts whatever is written there, whatever the book. So then that is truth. But I want to know how it is so. I accept the truth, but I want some elaboration, something, so that I get clarity over the whole thing. He accepts, but he wants explanation. Whereas in the mental speculation, he does not accept that, and he concocts something else only, according to his own interpretation. So the mental speculation is not recommended. Philosophical speculation, all Narad Muni and others are philosophical speculators.
like Prabhupada has used word philosophical speculation.
So that now I told you very precisely, but sometimes in a very generalized way, statements are given. So when it is said Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, so there that Jnana refers to mental speculation or philosophical speculation. There it refers to that thing, mental speculation. Jnanis, yogis, when they do that, that is condemned. And then by that, impersonal is, absolute is impersonal, and we want to merge in that. So that is not conducive for pure devotional service.
Like the eternal reality is personal, then how come
Eternal reality is impersonal also. Brahman is not temporary. Brahman is eternal only. But that is not the full understanding of the absolute truth. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdati. When one comes to Bhagavan, then he has complete understanding of the absolute truth. But Brahman understanding is not temporary. It is eternal understanding. Hence, these are eternal features of the Lord, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. But supreme is Bhagavan. Any other? I think we already crossed 9. 9 बजे के बाद प्रश्न पूछना एक बहुत बड़ा अपराध है सभी वैष्णव के चरणों में। मैंने ये तो नाराज हो जाएंगे, अपराध नहीं है, नो प्रॉब्लम। सो वी विल एंड हियर, विल कंटिन्यू टुमारो। श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की जय, श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद। We have many more things to say. I don't know how we will cover. Let us see. Sometimes I will go back and forth because I have something like 3 varieties of notes. One is the book. We are only able to cover book today. But there are some other notes also. Time permitting, we will do that also. Hare Krishna.
So tomorrow morning we have session from 6 to 9. So we'll change our schedule from 4 to 5:30. We'll have chanting time. 5:30 to 6 o'clock will be Mangal Aarti.